Hey, so I wanted to go over some of the headway I made in trying to make a Steam Deck healer profile. I main healer, so I'd like to see if I can get something working that simulates click casting. So I'm going to pause this real quick. What I have on the left are obviously my party frames, and on PC I can right click, left click, middle mouse click. I can press any keybind with the click add-on, and it will bind a spell and hover over the party frame and cast that spell. Um, a lot of the videos I've seen of people playing WoW on the Steam Deck are all DPS or tank. So obviously Prot Paladin, which is what this is a tank, but there's off healing with Prot Paladin, and there aren't very many spells that you would want to click cast. There's I think 3 or 4 that I have bound, so this is a good prototype spec to see if I can get this working. I'll explain as the video goes on what I've done basically. So one of the things that's hard is not healing related, but just keeping it targeted on the right thing. You sort of have to maybe abandon the console port targeting, but here I'll show you exactly what I have set up. I think I make a little demo of it on the left. Yeah. So what that is, the left touchpad on the Steam Deck is really configurable, and what I did is made it a touch menu with 5 actions, and both actions have an initial set of actions and an extended action on top of that. So what it'll do is if I press on any of these virtual buttons on the touch menu, it will move my WoW cursor over to one of the party frames, and then it will basically left click it. It's not really left click, it's pressing the numpad minus because I want to keep the left click functionality on the other trackpad. But this is simulating click cast healing. And as I get Word of Glory procs, you'll see me tap on this touchpad and it will heal the party member that's associated with that section of the touch menu. And Blessing of Sacrifice, Lay on Hands, all that stuff. Hopefully I do it here, let's see. Not yet. It's still overwhelming to switch to the controller. I've never been like a console gamer. But it's pretty fun so far. I don't know if you could necessarily ever get to as good as you are on PC, maybe with certain specs. The targeting is a major issue. You'd have to figure that out, but it's way stronger than I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought I was going to give up after trying it, so let's see if I use this proc. Yeah, you see that? I use it on Tamaraya. It's pretty awesome. You can obviously also actually tap the screen. You can just move your finger over and tap on the screen itself and hit the party member frame. I'd like to avoid that. My ultimate goal is something that I've been looking into and reading Steam community posts and Reddit posts on the Discord. I've asked a couple questions, but ultimately what I'd like to do is have that menu you saw, the touch menu, but when I tap it, I want it to simulate a right click, and when I press in and release it, like when I click it, I want that to simulate a left click. So I have right and left click bound. From what I understand, if you set the trackpad to be a directional pad, like a virtual D-pad, which is basically what all the default configurations are for most games that use the Steam Deck, you get that like right out of the box. It differentiates between touch and press, but for whatever reason, the touch menu doesn't, have some kind of obvious way to do that. And so it looks like there's going to be some kind of action layer stuff that has to happen to get that to work. I'm pretty new. I don't really understand all the action layer stuff. I kind of hate the idea of setting up this daisy chain of delays. Basically, that sucks. I'm hoping for something like way more simple. Right now, I have no delays set up, so there was an issue when I was first getting this started, where it would move the mouse over, but the click was so fast that it wouldn't actually register on the party frame, which sucked. And so I was really trying to get away from delays. But what you can do, and also while I'm explaining this, you'll notice that I'm not bringing up the configuration menu for the controller. The reason for that is because it crashes the game and it can sometimes delete. It's really a mess. I think Valve should be embarrassed about the state of their controller configuration. It's, they just need to hire somebody to just work on that specifically. But I lost my original train of thought. Basically, oh yeah, I don't have delays set up. I have it so when I press down on the touch menu, it moves the mouse, and when I release the touch menu, it presses numpad minus, which is simulating a left click. That's working pretty well. It's worked with all the spells that I've tried it on, but I think that if I can figure out the way to simulate right and left click by tapping or pressing, I honestly think you're not restricted in any spec that you play. It might be hard for something like Discipline Priest that has just so many direct heals. There's like 9 or 10 or something, maybe even more than that. When you add the like dispel, or you want to rescue, do the priest pull, you would really have to make another modification trigger. So you have left trigger, right trigger, and then left and right trigger. That's 3, so that would give you 6 click cast plus the just vanilla tap and press. So you'd have 8 total. So any spec that has 8 spells that you'd want to click cast with, this will work amazingly. But if you need another, I don't even know what the permutations would be, but you can add another modifier with one of the back paddles. I currently have the back paddles on tab target, jump, summon a favorite mount, and auto run. But obviously, summon a favorite mount and auto run, I could figure out some other way to get those maybe, and you could just make one of those a modifier, and you get a whole nother 9 spells or something like that. 8? I don't know. Somebody who's smarter at math can figure that out, but you can make it work with basically any class. So I think, after messing around with this, the only real restriction that I think would stop you from seriously using a Steam Deck to play WoW at a high level is targeting totem affixes. So like afflicted or incorporeal, where you have to actually click on the nameplate of an enemy because it's a totem. It's just clunky to use the right trackpad as a mouse. You can tab target over it, that's fine. I think if you're fast enough at that, it would work great. But if you have to dispel it, right, you're going to need to make a mouse over macro somehow. I don't know exactly how you do that on Steam Deck. Or you're going to have to tab target over it and then hover your mouse over the target frame. You're not going to really set up a touch menu just for incorporeal or afflicted. I don't think so. Maybe you could. But that's, maybe you could get around that. But as a healer, you're going to be expected to deal with those. So I think that, I don't know. I probably wouldn't play those weeks on the Steam Deck. But, ultimately, this is way better than I thought it was going to be. I'm really surprised. As far as, outside of this healing configuration goes, I think that the setup was a pretty big pain in the ass. Console port is great, but it's kind of finicky. My specific configurations per character like disappear sometimes, or they reset to some other global one that has a couple small changes. I can't figure out how to like right click on a frame to change my loot spec or promote somebody to leader or trade them or something like that. I'm sure there's a way. I can't figure it out. Um, Here I think I get inhaled because yeah, on my PC I have like Bigwig set up to count down for that and tell me, hey, you're gonna inhale. Also, my Bigwig is like overlapping on the target frame debuffs, which is a little annoying. I kind of set this up really fast. I think it's called Red Tusk UI is the name of this guy's LUI profile. It looks pretty good. Here's a good opportunity for me to Word of Glory. Do I do it? I don't think I do. But yeah, I think, it looks hectic here and I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. That's because I'm sort of concentrating on console port, like the bindings of console port and what to click. But I think once you get that muscle memory down, like, this is really good. I mean, if you're a DPS and you're fine with tab targeting, you could do like a 20 on this or something, I think. I mean, you could raid for sure. You can't raid heal, I don't think. I don't know how the hell you're going to do that. You're going to use like the D-pad. You're just going to be a burden in any serious content raid healing on console port. But if you're a DPS or like playing my Vengeance Demon Hunter on this, I'll upload a video about that after. It's awesome. Like there's basically no difference between PC and this Vengeance Demon Hunter. So that's going to be really fun. But yeah, man, if I can figure out the right and left click, that would be awesome because I could play Mistweaver no problem because Phalanx Stomp build, you're basically just sort of DPSing anyway, and it's just passively healing. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If anybody knows of somebody who has accomplished what I'm trying to figure out, or you've seen other people's solutions that you think is more elegant than this, I'm all ears. This is just kind of what I had in mind, and the reason that I got a Steam Deck was to try this. I thought, hey, if it's $400 or whatever, if this doesn't work out, I'll just play other games on it. But I really, really want to play my main Mistweaver in bed, so I'm not sitting at my computer, which is where I work. It's kind of depressing to sit at your work desk all day long. I could bring it in an airport when I travel and stuff. But yeah, I'm really pleasantly surprised with this. I thought it was going to be worse than it is. So if you're on the fence about getting a Steam Deck to play WoW, I would absolutely pull the trigger because it's awesome. And the other thing about WoW is that I don't know what's going on with WoW's optimization, but the battery life is better than any game I've played on Steam Deck. So playing, Dying Light on low, which looks terrible, I get like 2.5 hours maybe, which is pretty good. If I'm playing Control on medium, I get like an hour and a half. This game, running dungeons and actual content, not just like chilling and by myself in some spot with low pop, I'm getting like 4.5 hours on full battery. Like seriously, and that's without restricting the thermal profile, which you can do. You can say don't allow this game to go over 8 watts or something. I played around with it. I don't know that much about it, so I stopped. But you could get like 5 hours battery life from WoW realistically, which sounds insane, but it's true. Yeah, it's awesome. I highly recommend it. And I'll upload more videos when I learn more.